NBA Nation on this Wednesday afternoon. Another edition of the NBA Report, man. CP the franchise, Alex Charles, our guy Andrew Salop, the 1-2 combo on his regular weekly spot. On today's episode, it's all NBA in-season tournament, man. The Final Four is set. We're going to recap all four of the games, the 2 East and 2 West games, and get you ready for the semifinal action. Vegas is heating up this Thursday. All roads lead to Las Vegas, man. The in-season tournament, which a lot of fans were trashing, has become the hottest thing in sports. So let's talk about it. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Another edition of the NBA Report, man. Let's get it going. All right, let's go. Salute, fellas. How are we feeling today, man? Wednesday?
Feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's get right into this thing, because last night you had one, horrendous blowout, but one really exciting game, and we got to go to LA first, man. Lakers hosting the Suns. LeBron and KD. Yes, they've gone head to head, and yes, they played each other in the finals, but it's really been a while since we've seen these two head to head, where both of their teams were kind of neck and neck. And it's not like one guy's team is just like head and shoulders better than the rest. So you finally get to see like another battle between LeBron and KD, man. And going into this fourth quarter, it was just great to watch both of these guys going head to head and just going at it. Two of the greats of our game. Lakers will ultimately end up pulling ahead 106-103, man. But you have LeBron James, 39 points. 39 years old next week with 31, 11, and 8. Almost drops a triple-double. 40 minutes, leading all players in minutes, and was the best player on the floor, despite Kevin Durant's 31, 7, and 4 himself. This was a classic between two greats, with the Lakers just edging them out, man. Al, what was your reaction to this one?
Man, this is what we want to see. You want to see the superstars just duke it out, right? This is just an iconic battle between KD and LeBron. Going back to their Cavs and Warriors days, their Heat and OKC days, you get all this all in one. And it's just, this is like, I don't know how any other way to put it, man. It's just, you get both of these guys going off. LeBron, 31 points, 11 assists, 8 boards, 5 steals, man. As you said, he is turning 39 next week, and he is doing this playing 40 minutes. What? And then you have KD on the other side, 31 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. And look, both of them were galvanizing their teams to stay in this battle, right? Either way, you're going to be happy with if either one of these teams win, because you get your superstar going on to the next round, one of the faces of the league. At the end of the day, man, it just came out to who's going to have, it came down to the possession battle, because both these teams are just so highly powered with, you have Booker and KD on one side, you got AD and KD on, you got AD and LeBron on one side, you got KD and you got Booker on the other side. But it's really about the other guys, man, that showed up in these games. And I'm looking at Grayson Allen that showed up for the Suns, and I'm also looking at Austin Reeves off the bench, which has just been a revelation, man. And those two guys, those are the unsung heroes of last night's game, why it was so close. So it was a great battle overall, though. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Likewise, man. And Andrew, man, just watching LeBron James in that fourth quarter was just absolutely surgical, picking apart that Suns defense, hunting the mismatches, 1 to 2 steps ahead. Yusuf Nurkic was food. I feel bad for Nurkic, man, because I'm getting flashbacks to the first game or the second game of the season between these two teams. And it was the same thing, man. Just LeBron looking for Yusuf Nurkic on every play and abusing him on the screen and rolls with he and Anthony Davis in the 2-man game. LeBron was just surgical in that fourth quarter, bro.
LeBron James, man. If I could take one player, even though he's 39 years old, to play against the aliens, I think it would still be LeBron. I think Jokic is right there, but just one game, I still might go with LeBron. The guy's improved as a shooter since last season. He's anchoring the defense from behind. I think, how many steals did he have yesterday? He had 5 steals.
Wow.
5 steals. Just incredible. They pulled out a win with AD missing some bunnies, even though his stat line looked pretty good. This team is just phenomenal. And yeah, he was targeting Nurkic. I think Nurkic is definitely a guy that's going to get exposed in the playoffs. Their team, I don't think it's for me, it's not championship or bust for the Suns because I don't think they have a chance this year. I think they have to get everybody healthy, develop chemistry, and if they can keep it all together, I think they'll be legit title contenders next year. But this game was just phenomenal. And another reason why I would take LeBron James versus the Aliens is because he could call timeout when his team doesn't have the ball.
Right. Right. We got to get to that, man. Let's go to the play. Let's go to this play because I'm watching this on my couch last night. I said, I cannot believe what I just saw. You had you had a scram for the ball between Austin Reeves and I think it was Katie or somebody else on the Suns after the Suns had just scored. Now, Suns are still in this thing. The ball becomes loose, and all of a sudden, a timeout is called, and they call timeout for the Lakers. And you hear the commentators like, LeBron James called timeout. Well, let's take a look at the replay. You look at the replay, and the ball is clearly loose while LeBron James is calling timeout in front of the referees that are watching the ball clearly have no possession. And I'm on the couch. I said, boy, oh boy, they're not even concealing the fact that the fix is in to get LeBron James and the Lakers to Vegas. By hella high water, this is what the Knicks, the league needs. You go to Summer League any year, Lakers are always got the number one fans in there. They want LeBron and the Lakers in this thing, and that was like one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. Unreal, Al. Unreal. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's definitely unreal. And to me, man, like I'm looking at this game and I'm just like, what? How do you even make this mistake? It's reminding me of like the Chris Webber days where you're trying to call a timeout. It's like, bro, you don't have a timeout. Or it's like when Draymond did it against Toronto. It's like you're trying to call a timeout. You don't have timeout. Like, where's the awareness of everything going on, man? That's what I'm wondering. And to have this mistake, it's just so brutal because you're giving an edge to the Lakers, right? And you want to make it seem that, oh, this is a fair matchup. Everyone has a fair shot to win these games. But then when you see something like this, you're like, well, it's like even when you watch a football game, right? I forget which game it was this season, and you're like, are you just helping the major market team over here?
Yeah,
that's going to win, and then you're going to prop them up, and all the thoughts is going to be like, oh, we got to add the other notch to LeBron's belt. Oh, let's think about the fan base. Who's going to get the most views and all that type of stuff. I mean, you can go to YouTube right now, CP and Andrew. You can go to YouTube right now. You can go through all the highlights.
Yeah.
13 hours after this game's done, you have 1 million views for KD and LeBron James going at it on YouTube. So it's like the NBA is looking at that like, oh yeah, Adam Silver's just, playing with his finger like this. Like, yes, Unreal. We got this. We got everything we needed right now.
Yeah. And LeBron, he's going to be the guy that's going to be the governor of this Vegas team coming in, right? Yeah. Eventually. Yeah. So it all comes together. He definitely wants to hold up that trophy in Vegas.
Yeah, no question about it. So that was just hilarious. But overall, look, Lakers look pretty tough. I mean, fourth in the West right now. LeBron James still very much so the straw that stirs that whole drink, man. Again, you just watch him in the fourth quarter. Like, they need him. He is their guy at 39 years old. He is still, everything runs through LeBron James, man, at the end of the day. But their defense, I thought their defense in the fourth quarter was really picked it up. I like the way that they can put a lot of size out there and a lot of height and length. When you have Austin Reeves, you have LeBron, you have Cam Reddish, who's now playing a pivotal role for them at the wing. Jared Vanderbilt is back. You have AD. I mean, that was one of the lineups. That was their clutch fourth quarter lineup right there. They didn't even go traditional point guard. It was Bron, it was Reeves, it was Cam, it was Vanderbilt and AD. I mean, nobody's shorter than, what is Austin Reeves, 6'5"? Nobody's shorter than that. I like that. I like how they can put that out there. And defensively, you have Cam, Vanderbilt, and AD. A lot of wingspan, a lot of switchability, a lot of versatility there. Athletic.
Don't forget my guy Rui.
Rui was balling out there too. Rui was definitely balling out there as well, man. So, just overall, I like how this Lakers unit is coming together, man.
That's very fair because if you just look at this roster and you look at the stats, these guys are all, for the most part, rotational playoff players. I know Max Christie is young, but the rest of the guys could give you productive playoff minutes at the least. And this team's depth is probably a little bit underrated. At the end of the day, LeBron's going to be LeBron in the playoffs if in all health, right? AD got to be that guy, though. AD got to step up. He can't miss bunnies in important playoff games. This has that playoff atmosphere. You need AD to be that top guy for them to win it all. But, yeah, their depth is definitely underrated.
Yeah.
You have AD missing shots 10 to 26 from the field last night. You need him to
Facts.
play a little bit better than that. Thankfully, he was able to get to the line and knock down 7 of his free throws. But I got to ask you guys both this question because as close as this game was, I'm thinking to myself, if you just had Bradley Beal on the Phoenix Suns, and Andrew, I know to your point, like it's not this season, it's next season because they got a gel and Beal's missing too much time. But if they had Bradley Beal, man, that's like, how are you stopping that team? Because that's a lethal shooter. And like you think, especially the way Devin Booker is able to get downhill, you got to guard. You can't allow Booker to get an easy shot around the rim. But if you have Beal out there as a guy that you can kick out to in the corner, that's an automatic 3 almost. So it's like, to me, I'm looking at this like the Lakers, as good as they look, they're lucky that Bradley Beal wasn't out there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think like Andrew said, it's going to take some time before we really know. We don't really know who this Suns team is.
Yeah,
because he's not healthy. I mean, KD almost went down last night. He took a couple scary drops last night. Devin Booker has been in and out with injury. The Beal back injury is a big question mark. So we don't even know what this team is. But like you said, Al, you swap out an Allen or one of those other role players for Bradley Beal, you have a much more reliable player.
How about Eric Gordon, man?
Yeah.
Swap out Eric Gordon. This is all different. That starting lineup is ridiculous.
It's different. And putting Gordon on the bench certainly helps their bench. So it's all different. I don't think they're strong enough defensively. They got a couple of strong defenders on the wing, like a Koji for sure. He's certainly their specialist. I don't like Jokic there at the 5. They need some more big man depth to address their rim protection. I think they'll be weak there, but it's going to be a while before we really know who this team is.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry is a superpower in the NBA, and I will say Devin Booker and Kevin Durant have been fitting in really nicely. But there is a redundancy in skill set when you do look at Bradley Beal, Booker, and KD. KD happens to be 7 feet with that skill sets. That makes him a Hall of Famer. But I do think chemistry matters even more with them than maybe some of the other teams, especially because this team just came together with their top 3 guys this season.
Fair enough, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. All right, we went from the Lakers. Let's go to the other team the league probably wanted in this thing, the Boston Celtics. But they would have had to go through the Indiana Pacers to get to Vegas, and that they could not do, man. Pacers win 122-112 in a raucous stadium. Fieldhouse, whatever their Fieldhouse name is. I don't even know. I hate the Pacers. But, that place was rocking. What is it? Conseco Fieldhouse? I know the Invesco Fieldhouse, whatever the place is. That place was rocking.
Gainbridge, CP. The Gainbridge.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Back in our day, it was Market Square Arena, Al. That was before your time. That was back when the Knicks and the Pacers.
Right, when you used to watch Bob Cousy play.
Yeah. Market Square Arena. That was such a copy off of Madison Square Garden. But anyway, Pacers, Halliburton, they come out of the second half down by 8, and they just open up a can of whoop ass in the third quarter. Third quarter, 37 points. They score to the Celtics 23, and we're going to the fourth with an 11-point lead, and that's when this thing got very, very fun and interesting, man. This thing had so many lead changes, 7 ties in the fourth quarter. But it was Halliburton just being electric, man. So super dynamic, 16 points in the second half, including a crazy 4-point play in which he heaved up a 3-pointer over Jaylen Brown and miraculously got it in. After that, he had Aaron Nesmith with a signature slam that just blew the roof off of the place. Buddy Hield with a big 3-pointer. And the Pacers ran away with this one, man, 122-112. I think, a couple things that impressed me in this one. I mean, first of all, it's Halliburton's first triple-double. I had to listen twice when I heard it on the telecast because it's like, damn, a dude like that is leading the league in assists, a maestro like that who can get you some boards. It's funny that was his first career triple-double, being in the league for 3-4 years. So that was interesting. What I also thought was interesting was that the Pacers, as much as we rag on their defense, 28th in the league, they got the stops they needed in the end, right? Like they were able to grind it out and get this thing out the mud in a lower scoring game compared to what they're used to and what the Celtics are used to. So I thought those two things were certainly interesting. And then third, it's just their want to win this thing. They want to win this thing. Halliburton has been after it. He says he's tired of losing. They really want this experience to help transform their season. And so far, it's looking like it is.
For sure. And I know Andrew's happy because this keeps his mantra of the Bucks being better than the Boston Celtics in the East and championship favorites. I know he was excited. He was like, ooh, here we go. My agenda's lasting.
Yeah.
But look, the one I told you guys, I did go 100% on my board, but I did say this was the upset. And the big thing for me, man, was KP being out. You just saw they have no rim protection. The backup, which is Al Horford and Luke Cornett. I mean, there were moments in the game where you're saying, oh, maybe they could get this job done. But the fact that you still have Jason Tatum and you have Jaylen Brown on that side, and you can't even defeat one star on the Indiana Pacers. You have two. These are two guys. You have one who's considered to be a top 5 player in the league right now, and you have another guy who's definitely top 10, top 15, whatever you want to place, Jaylen Brown, even top 20. But the fact that it's only Tyrese Halliburton, mostly role players, and he gets the job done, okay? CP, 19 points in the second half. Tyrese Halliburton's like, you're not stopping me. You're not stopping me today. We're going all – when I saw him get the 4-point play on Jaylen Brown, I was like, oh, he's getting the whistle. Bro, he's getting the whistle. Let's go.
That's an MVP caliber performance right there. But we got to start having that conversation, man.
For sure. And I see people don't want to have that conversation, but you got to have – and I see the whole conversation. Well, he hasn't made a playoffs yet. It's a regular season award. He's hooping. He is balling out. This is MVP type caliber play because he's the engine to what they do. If he's making this team competitive the way they are, they're top 6. Yeah. Isn't that like your best player? That's what you consider like an MVP type player. But I think the big thing for me in this game was the role players. Like you have Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, like just balling out. And Aaron Naismith, I loved his game. He was getting some tough layups, and he wanted to remind the Celtics, you drafted me and you gave up on me. And look at me now. At me now. I love it.
Big time, man.
Al, you're totally right. Tyrese Halliburton playing at an MVP level. Been high at him since Iowa State. I thought a lot of teams shouldn't have passed on him. We won't get too into that right now, guys. We won't get too into that right now. CP, you're totally right. The defense was better. You're right about that, CP. But let's keep the agenda going, Alex.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, especially Tatum. This is a peek into the playoffs, and he could not generate great looks the way Tyrese Halliburton was able to. And then I'm looking at the Bucks, not to fast forward too much. When you got guys like Giannis, when you got guys like Dame Lillard, I just believe in those guys more in playoff situations, in end of shot clock situations, in end of game situations, more than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Tatum dropped the ball on this one. Tatum dropped the ball. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, Andrew, because what's funny is that I have because my wife was born and raised in Boston. I had some of the family members over. I was like, oof. I was like, upset alert. I'm like, they're not getting this done. And her family members was like, what are you talking about? They're like, I'm here. I'm going to help. I'm watching the TV now. I'm like, they're getting smoked. I'm like, Tatum's not that dude. I'm like, watch this. I'm like, how are you so talented, but soft at the same time? And I'm going to put that out there, man, because
Al, you're not Al. I talk to people around the NBA. You're not the only one that says that. You are not the only one who says that.
This is just insane. Like, you are supposed to be, for a guy who's considered top 5, I'm expecting you to like really, he wants to be, the thing is like, he tributes himself to Kobe so much. He loves Kobe so much, but it's like that dog, that wiring that Kobe has is just not there. Like super talented, but it's like just falling short, man. I mean, you saw it in the finals 2 years ago. It was Jaylen Brown that stood up. Last season in the playoffs, he had his moments, but it's like, it's just constantly falling short, man.
Let me add, like some players in the NBA, I don't want to bag on Tatum, but this is a little bit about Tatum. They're like in their skill development bag, and they're not really reading the game of basketball. Like, let me just get in my bag, do what I do, but they're not like reading the game and trying to generate the best looks possible in real game situations. Obviously, Tatum is a great player. We all know that. But he got that like skill development lab thing going on that he's not really reading it like a Halliburton, like a Luka, like a LeBron, like a Jokic. And Bradley Beal is kind of the Tatum, bag work type of thing. These guys sometimes rely on the bag work instead of let's get the best shot possible as a team.
Yeah, that's fair. That's certainly fair. With the Pacers defense, again, the question is going to be because they have the offense to get to the playoffs. Obviously, this was a one-game elimination. Everything fell right for them, and they took advantage of it. They ran them out the gym down the stretch. But in a playoff series, I think that's the next question is like, are they going to be able to get enough stops to potentially win a playoff round or more than a couple of games? And then offensively, when teams try to slow the pace down, like the Celtics did the Monday night, they did try to slow them down. Can they get enough going in the half court to win a series? I think that's going to be the biggest question with them going forward, man. Like, are the two extremes, can that work and get the meaningful wins in April?
Yeah. For who? The Pacers?
Pacers.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a glimpse of it, right? Like, I know it's the Celtics without KP, and KP changes that entire thing drastically. But, and I asked that same question too, CP, but after that performance over the Celtics, I mean, it's just it's really Halliburton versus Tatum and Brown. And CP, as you noted earlier in the season, they have probably the best defensive backcourt in the NBA, and Halliburton still got the job done, the triple-double.
Job done.
Like,
got the job done, man.
At this point, I'm like, I have to start being a believer, saying, this high-powered offense is working and legit, and that maybe they're okay without the defense. I mean, the good thing is, and I know we're going to preview it later, we'll get a better glimpse against the Bucks. So I think that'll be much more of an understanding where the Pacers at on the season. And I think the thing I was thinking about this last night, guys, is that even though this in-season tournament is a one-game elimination, this is a very nice glimpse of where teams stand in the league if you're thinking about playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And for this type of atmosphere for the Pacers, you got to be happy. It's like, we don't even have a second star yet. We're good. But if you're the Celtics on the flip side, if you don't have KP in April,
that's a
big
loss. Big loss.
You are possibly done in like a first-round scenario, depending on who the matchup is.
It's a big loss and a big possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about the Lakers' depth. The Celtics definitely don't have that type of depth. They can't lose any of their top six.
Can't lose it.
And win a championship. It's not going to happen.
Can't lose them. Can't lose them. You know, they have some fire. You know, Hauser has some firepower, and Pritchard can give them a spark, but they don't have it. They need Neesmith. But yeah, so that was the season.
Right. Last thing I gotta say. Did you see Neesmith do the too little to Derek White? I was like,
I did.
Guy.
Yeah. I like his edge, man. I like the way the Pacers are playing, and well-deserved trip to Vegas. I mean, for the casual fans that the NBA is trying to push this thing to, Pacers are there, man. Pacers are there, and you got a young star in Halliburton on the main stage. I think that's another win for the league because it's a mix, right? You have your younger guard, you have your older guard. So I think that's a good balance, man. Next game, let's talk about the Kings and the Pelicans. Pelicans coming into this thing, into Sacramento, beating the Kings already twice this season. And you know what? Even though the Kings shot out to a 32-17 lead in this one, but Pelicans kept chipping away, man. Brandon Ingram was sensational in this game. They got a big contribution from CJ McCollum. Herb Jones I think Herb Jones had about 23 points in this one. So he had a solid game as well for them. And then they got some chippy, scrappy effort from their bench. Grand Theft Alvarado doing what he does best, man. Like, Trey Murphy coming back. Welcome back, Trey Murphy. He was big for them as well. And the Pelicans win 127-116. Pelicans win. They beat the Kings now 3 times in the regular season. And despite a terrible effort from Zion, he looked like a slob out there. Brandon, it's just bad. Like, everybody clamoring for Zion in a trade, man. Like, that's a big mistake. That's a huge mistake. But anyway, I digress. To the game, Andrew, what'd you think about this one, man? Pelicans win 127-117.
Yeah, with Zion, I do think, some of that was what the Kings were doing with Zion defensively. Like, I think they put a good amount of pressure on him because he has been playing better. We've been seeing point Zion. But to your point, he could get in better shape. And what Brandon Ingram was able to do at the end of this game that we talked about his Duke counterpart, Jason Tatum, wasn't able to do was, generate really good looks and just take over and pick this team apart. He had a tough summer. He had even a tough beginning of this regular season, but it was good to see him pick them apart at the end. And as you said, the Kings just haven't been able to deal with the Pelicans all season for some reason, even though De'Aaron Fox has been looking like an MVP at times. Yeah. Like, I'm a Halliburton over Fox guy, but I can't deny he's been looking great. Whenever I say Halliburton over Fox, the Kings fans go at me, and that's a whole other story for another day. They don't like the idea of that. But yeah, great win for the Pelicans. And I think they're trending in the right direction. We'll see how it goes moving forward.
For this, I thought the Kings were going to do much more. I thought that, at some point you got to be able to beat them. They beat you twice. But man, when to Andrew's point, like, you have Ingram just choose where he wants to be and get into those spots. Yeah. But the thing that really concerned me in this game is I'm looking at the center position. I go back to the Sabonis thing, like, how far can this thing take you? I mean, they got out rebounded, guys, 42-38. I know it's not a big thing, but those margins, if you're the Sacramento Kings and you're worrying about that team's defense, which to me is still a concern. Like, I look at Sabonis. I'm like, how far can you get with him being the center of this team? Because he's undersized, great facilitator, had a solid job scoring, but battling Valanciunas, even though he got 13 boards to Valanciunas' 11, it was like the timeliness of the boards that just matter, like being able to box out and use his strength. And I'm like, this is where, if you're the Kings moving forward, this was the issue that the Pacers had with Sabonis, man. It's like, all right, he's good, all-star, quality level player, but there's a ceiling. Like, you just see the ceiling, and it's like not really a power forward, more of a center and what you need out of him. But moving forward, that's just going to be my thing, because they got everything else, man. They just need someone to anchor that defense, but it's tough because what he gives you for that offense is just so. It's Jokic light, right? He can facilitate. He got 10 assists that game. Yeah, he's a big proponent of what they do.
I think they're going to be stuck. They're going to be capped with him. It's a similar situation with the Knicks and Randall, right? Like, good players, but not good enough to take them to where they need to be. And they have great point guard, and they have pieces off the bench. You got your Monk IQ similarities, but like, they're too soft. They don't provide any rim protection. The Sabonis is horrendous defensively. They need a power forward. The Barnes experiment, they brought Barnes back. He's all right. He's a serviceable player, but he scores 4 points in that game. Like, not enough out of that position. Keegan Murray, hey, we'll see what happens as he comes along, but he's just not at the level of what they need to really make noise in the West. Like, I just don't think that they're there yet. And there's too many question marks, especially with their interior defense. It's just not there. And I don't think they'll ever be good. And that's the thing where it's like with Mike Brown. No, Mike Brown didn't forget how to coach defense. They just don't have the horses, especially in the front court. They just don't have the horses. And they're in a spot right now that I think the Pacers are ultimately going to be in a spot in. Like, remember last year, Sacramento was kind of like last year's Pacers.
Yes.
So, I mean, or the Pacers were last year's Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
Going offense in the league, shit was humming, boom, boom, boom. But defensively, now it's question marks. Because as much as you're going to want to get into a track meet, you still got to cover. You still got to cover in transition. You don't want to get caught out there on cross matches and mismatches in transition. Like, they're in that same spot, and I think the Pacers are gonna be in that same category where they're trying to find that balance between their offense and getting good defense and setting good defensive principles to make sure that on an off night they can still sustain. Sacramento is just in that spot right now.
And, Trey Murphy III being back is huge for them. He's a guy who can hit the three, play defense. And what makes him a little bit different than the typical 3-and-D guy, he's an elite athlete. Like, we've seen him in dunk contests, right? Yeah. He'll get shots up in the modern NBA. That's so important. The ability to just get a whole bunch of threes up and shoot them at a decent clip. He could do that. That provides gravity for Zion and Brandon Ingram. Things are definitely trending in the right direction for them.
Yeah.
And having Herb Jones go off for the Pelicans was like, that was huge for them.
Big one.
Yes.
Herb Jones is a big one. So they will head to Vegas, and now you got the LeBron Zion matchup out west. So we'll wrap up the quarterfinal action in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, it's still raining threes. Do you have your umbrella, Alex? It is still raining 3-pointers in Milwaukee, in the Cream City. It's still raining right now because the Milwaukee Bucks just annihilated the New York Knicks last night in a 3-point barrage, man. 146-122. Bucks beat the Knicks. They outscore the Knicks by 48 from downtown. You had 35, 10 assists for Giannis, 8 rebounds. Dame time with 28, 7 assists. For the Knicks, this might have been the best game I've ever seen Julius Randle play. 41 for Julius, 6 rebounds, 5 assists on 14 and 19 shooting. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better night from him. He just didn't have much other help. You know, I mean, actually, honestly, they scored more than enough to win the game. They scored 122 to win the game. What I mean is they didn't have help. They didn't have help defensively, and they didn't have help in terms of matching the firepower that the Bucks were coming with. You couldn't meet that level. And that was my concern with this game, was that could the Knicks meet the talent level and do, you know, match what Giannis and Dame did for their team last night, and they just couldn't do it.
You know, CP, you asked if I had my umbrella out. Did you unpack your bags? Because I know you were excited about the potential of going out to Vegas.
I'm still leaving it at the door. Still holding out hope, man. Still holding out hope. Rule change or something. I'm still holding out hope, man.
You know, the tough thing about doing the NBA report and KFTV CP is that we have to discuss the down games the next day after, which is it's rough. But going back and you look at what the Bucks did, I mean, they shot 60% from downtown. I mean, there's the probability of them shooting even better from 3 after the first game. You could they
outscored by 30 in the first game and now 48 in the second game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but statistically, that's the probability is very low for that to happen. But look, this is where you see when you have Giannis and you have Dame, then it's just tough to keep up, man. I mean, Dame got activated when he needed to. Giannis got activated when he needed to. And then at the end of the day, you know, we talk about the firepower. Knicks just needed their role players, and the Bucks role players all showed up. Everybody, Beasley, AJ Green, everybody. And when you have that, and you see the potential of what the Milwaukee Bucks can be when you get to the playoffs, if you get, you know, these type of performances, even if it's a 40% shooting spree from 3, they are unstoppable. I mean, forget defense. And this is where Andrew's agenda still lives. It's like, oh, defense. If you just have a middle-of-the-road defense, you have a high-powered offense, you're okay. You're okay.
Listen, I'm starting to come around on that.
And I'm starting to look at Andrew and I'm like,
when Q came on the show, that's why I picked the Bucks, man. You know, that's why I picked the Bucks when Q came on the show, because but those two guys, like, you can afford to have off nights because those two guys can still take over.
And the thing is, like, even if your role players have an off night, the probability of one of those guys having a true off night, and I mean like a true off night, like single digits, it's so rare.
It's so
at least one of them is capable of going off.
Yeah. It's a talent gap at the end of the day, right? You got Dame and Giannis. The defense wasn't bad against Giannis in the paint. Like, it wasn't terrible. It's just when things got out in transition, this guy is too big, too strong, too athletic. You know, he's an absolute difference maker. And then I really realized, like, I don't know if you remember the beginning of the game, it was kind of close. And I'm like, damn, Dame didn't even get off yet. Like, Dame's about to come on. And the way Dame is so dangerous, the reason he's so dangerous is you could have the greatest defensive scheme, but he could just shoot right over it, right?
He can kill it. Better offense.
Shoot right over the defense. And then if you want to get gimmicky, start chopping them, full court pressure, then you're going 4-on-4 with Giannis, right? Like, that's why I think this team is going to be a total conundrum when it comes to the playoffs. I will also say Chris Middleton is playing well, but he doesn't look close to 100% to me, the way he's moving.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's scarier for the Bucks or the rest of the league.
Great question. And hit the nail on the head in regards to the Bucks and how they can kill you. I mean, a lot of Knicks fans, and the default response from Knicks fans after losses is always Tibbs' fault. It's always Tibbs' fault. But you watch this game, man, you can't cover everybody. Like,
you got to take away. You got to take away something, right?
You got to take away something, right? You can't, unless you could play with 7 guys on the court. Maybe that would have helped you. But I mean, you try to wall off.
I don't even know about that.
He passes over the wall and finds an open guy. The open guy knocks down the shot. You try to put 2 on the ball with Dame. He finds Giannis on the short roll. He finds another guy in the corner for the 3. Or if you try to cover that guy from the 3, he's got an open lane to just dunk on your whole team. They're dominant. That's what dominant players do. They put pressure on the defense, not the other way around. They put pressure on you, and you can't put that much pressure on them, man, because They're just dominant, man. Like, so for the Knicks, man, look, I think they're fine. It was disappointing. It was obviously I want to see them get to Vegas and play Obi and the Pacers. I thought that would have been a great storyline. Obi and Julius. You have Halliburton and Brunson. But they're fine. Look, they put up 122 points in this game. Are they're not on the level as the Bucks and the Celtics. I think this is what we're seeing throughout the course of the season. They're just not there.
Celtics without KP, I would say more so, because that's closer. But because the thing is, guys, like the issue is that the Knicks are so reliant on their interior defense with Mitchell Robinson, and we've just seen it so much right now. Is that if it's Brook Lopez who can shoot threes, it's KP who can shoot threes. Once you remove Mitchell Robinson, once you remove Isaiah Hartenstein outside of the paint, everything's open. It is fair game for everybody. And the fact that Mitch has to guard Brook, like Giannis is like, oh, like this is no disrespect to Randall. I thought Randall did a solid job doing his best to contain Giannis, but like at the end of the day, it's Giannis. He gets a full head of steam. He's got the wingspan. He's just easy layups. Easy layups.
As good as Mitch is for the Knicks, like nobody has a defensive anchor like Brook Lopez. He's just like a genius on that side of the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, true story, man. So the final four is set. You got Lakers, Pelicans, and you got Bucks and Pacers. And we're going to preview the semifinal matchup, man. But real quick, so to everybody in the chat, once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Another edition of the NBA Report presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy. Go to prizepicks.com or download the Prize Picks app and sign up using our code NBAR for an instant deposit match of up to $100. And later on in the show, we're going to get to our Prize Picks of the night, but we got to recap Monday's action, Al. After you had a crazy 6-pick win, how did you do on Monday? Just go rapid fire through your picks and let us know how you did on Monday.
Ah, man. I needed 2 more and I would have had another perfect outing. I got 4 out of 6.
All right.
4 out of 6. No money signs for me today, Cameron. No money signs for me. No raining $100 bills. I wish, though. I wish. Close, but no cigar. Yeah. I could have had 5 if Brunson just hit 2 free throws, CP. He just needed to hit 2 free throws.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis got over his 7 assists. Obi Toppin got more than 11.5 points. Kevin Huerter got more than 6.5 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And I had LeBron James getting more than 39.5 points, rebounds, assists. I missed on Jalen Brunson getting more than 25.5 points. And Jason Tatum on less than 20.5 field goals attempted. He decided to say, you know what? I'll take more this time. I'll take more.
Combo, how'd you do on Monday?
Yo, I had yesterday. Let me talk about yesterday because I only did a 2-picker. I went over on RJ Barrett, and then Prize Picks had a deal on Giannis for like 26.
Nice.
So I went over. Right. Shouts to RJ. He's been struggling a little bit, but yesterday he had some buckets, so he helped me win. We did it. We did well.
Nice.
We did well.
So you went 2 for 2 last night. You went 2 for 2 last night.
Sometimes you just got to keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I feel you. All right, man. You know what? This is my 3rd straight pick where I've gone 3 for 5, and I keep I'm just a 3 for 5 guy, man, until further notice. I came close though, man. I went with Malik Monk with more than 14.5 in this game against the Pelicans. I thought that was my lock of the night, and he hit that. No, my lock of the night was Obi Toppin with more than 11.5 points in this game, in the Pacers game against the Celtics. He finished with 12. I had Sabonis with more than 17.5 against the Pelicans. He finished with 22. But then here's one went a little awry that didn't go well. CJ McCollum, I had him with more than 3.5 rebounds. Just couldn't get after it on the boards. He finished with 2 in their win against Sacramento. And then I thought this was going to be a big Zion game, man. That's why I called him a slob earlier. He messed up my money. I went with Zion with more than 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Just wasn't there. And as you said, Andrew, part of that was the attention that the Kings were showing him. But also, I don't like his inconsistent tenacity. Like, this is a big game, man. You step up. You got to step up. Ingram's stepping up, and Zion sometimes he just looks like he's going through the motions there, man. So I missed that one. 3 for 5 again, and we'll get to our picks of the night in the final segment of the show, man. Once again, go to prizepicks.com, use promo code NBAR for an instant deposit match of up to $100. All right, Al, Bucks Pacers, man. What do you like in this matchup tomorrow, man?
I got to go with the Bucks. I got to go with the Bucks in this one. I don't think the Pacers have the star power to match. I mean, Halliburton, as great as he was, you can take down the Boston Celtics because the Celtics, as we've seen over the years, they can falter at any moment. But with this Bucks team, with the way they just were able to outscore the Knicks, right, and put on that shooting display, we're going to see two awesome offenses compete tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. But Halliburton by himself against Dame and Giannis, that's not possible.
Al's coming along. He's coming along.
He's coming along, man. He's coming along, man. He's coming along,
Look, man. I'm like a scientist. You have your hypothesis, you go through your experiments, you see what plays out, and then you change. That's how it works around here. So I'm coming along. Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow. Dame and Giannis are just too much. And look, I think the thing that we're going to see help the Bucks that helped them against the Knicks is that they got the height. Bobby Portis off the bench was very good. Yeah. Okay. I think when you have Malik Beasley out there, like, even though he's not the greatest defender, when he starts shooting like that, that's tough to keep up with as well. So I'm liking what the Bucks have as a unit, and their offense is starting to click. Them over the Pacers tomorrow night.
Yeah. Shouts to Beasley, man. He was out there dancing. He was out there.
That dance is a little strange. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We are New Yorkers, so we can call it.
Listen, man. He spent half his career playing with a bum Minnesota team, got another couple playing with a bum Jazz team. He's happy to be playing meaningful ball right now. He's playing with Dame and Giannis.
Yeah, and he's playing meaningful ball out in Denver. What are we doing over here?
But now I think he's shooting it a lot better. Like, spot up everything. He's knocking down shots. That guy.
Yeah.
I would agree with Al though. Yeah, I got Bucks. I mean, the only way that the Pacers could win this game if they make it like an absolute track meet and just shoot ridiculous from three, I would say. But too much firepower, I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit too much. I don't want to count out Halliburton and those guys. I really feel like they really want this thing for their organization and just as a positive building block for their growth and development. But I just think it's just too much firepower for the Bucks. I mean, if they're going to come with their A game with what they and how they beat the Knicks, I don't see how the Pacers giving them extra possessions is going to help. I just think Dame and Giannis are going to be too dominant, and you're dealing with a different kind of size now. The Celtics were missing Porzingis. You had Horford there, but now you have Brook, you have Portis, you have Giannis. I think the Bucks should be able to control the glass, which will also help to slow down this Pacers attack. And then if this thing stays close and you're getting into crunch time, I got to go with the guys that have done it before. I got to go with Giannis. I got to go with Dame. Statistically, they've shown that they are one of the best in the league. And as individual superstars, they're the best in the league. They're two of the best in the league. So if this thing goes down to the wire, I got to give them the edge. And overall, I just think they will have the firepower to match and ultimately knock off the Pacers, man. So I'm going with the Bucks as well.
Look, with Dame right now is number one in clutch points right now. So that's for anyone that doesn't know, that's 5 minutes or less in a game in the fourth quarter. And he is averaging, last time I checked, 6 points, which is the most. He is number one when it comes to that time. So, and that's why he's called Dame time, man. He points to that watch for a reason. So
it's a fact.
Unless watch us all say Bucks and watch Halliburton be like, all right, triple double, 50 points, and I'm pulling this thing out.
That'd be awesome. That'd be really fun. I'll tell you that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Hey, I want to see this track meet.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It would be fun.
Salute to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Grace J. I guess a Pacers fan. They say a bit behind, but just noting that the Pacers have the best half-court offense in the league right now, so I'm not worried about their offense in a slower game, more so the defense. Okay. All right, fair enough. We'll have to wait and see. Cleveland had the best half-court offense last year in the NBA.
Yeah, that worked out.
One of the best.
Talk spicy, Al. Talk spicy.
How'd that work?
Cleveland's looking a little sad right now, all right?
Like they need to do some soul searching, man. Lakers and Pelicans. Is there anything that Ingram and Zion can do to stop this LeBron and Vegas train?
Put a suitcase outside AT's bedroom and have him trip. That's the only. If AD goes down, man, that's the only way. I think that it's tough for the Lakers, but I'm going with the Lakers in this matchup. I mean, it's AD, it's LeBron. LeBron, we talk about having the guy, the talent. If it's Giannis and Dame for the Bucks, they got that guy on LeBron James. I mean, we just saw him go against Kevin Durant. As much as I like Brandon Ingram and the depth that the Pelicans have, LeBron James just knows how to
pick you apart.
He understands the moment.
Yeah.
And I think he knows how to galvanize his teammates in order to play at that next level, which is why he's been an awesome leader for whatever team he's been on. But I just can't see how it's the Pelicans upsetting the Lakers.
Yeah. And where's the rim protection for the Pels? Like, that's going to be tough with AD, right? And LeBron's just going to pick them apart. So, yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, look, LeBron is on a mission. He's on 2 missions.
Yeah.
One's to play with his Suns, and 2 is to win this midseason tournament in Vegas, and then eventually be the governor of whatever the Vegas team is called. Maybe let's call it the Vegas LeBrons.
No, I was about to say the Vegas LeBrons for now. The Vegas LeBrons. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think the Lakers are too strong, man. Between Bron, AD, Austin Reeves coming off the bench. He's back in regular season form now. I like him off the bench. You know what I really liked in that game last night, just going back to that Lakers and Suns game, just to show the LeBron effect, not just on a guy like a Cam Reddish, but even like Austin Reeves, where you saw when he hit that big shot, that step back 3, like with like 15 seconds left, when they had like a 1-point lead and it stretched it out to like 4. The possession before that, LeBron gave it to him and he missed. Next possession, he goes right back to him and he knocks down the 3. You know what I mean? And like, I just feel like that's just a big, confidence builder, a big chemistry booster for that team, and just showing like the trust that LeBron has in his teammates to make that extra play. Like, it doesn't always have to be him scoring, but him setting up other guys and giving them the confidence to take the game into their hands. That was a big shot by Austin Reeves. Big shot. That was, to me, almost won the game until the Phantom timeout ultimately sealed it. But either way, I just think the Lakers are too tough. I think defensively, they're also been playing very strong. Can't sleep on that. I'm going to give them the depth edge for right now. And I just think I don't see anybody in the Pelicans slowing down LeBron or AD for that matter in this game. I think the Lakers roll. And
the thing is, guys, that with the Pelicans, they have a lot of wing depth, right? Well, the Lakers also have a lot of wing depth. So it's usually for the Pelicans, that's like the neutralizing factor. And it's the same at this point. At the end of the day, Lakers have LeBron James. Like, for what he's doing right now, it's just historic, man. Absolutely historic. So you just got to stick with the Lakers in this matchup. Like I said, I don't see how it could be anything else. But then you talk about people like the play, like you're looking for Reeves again, but that's like that leadership, man. That's what he knows. Like, it goes back to what he was even doing out in Cleveland, right? With Kyrie. It's like he comes back from Miami and he knows, no. I can score 40. I can score 30 and 40. You're going to take the last shot because it makes sense for you to take the last shot, and I trust you. It's that type of stuff, man, that you just see the Lakers starting to gel at the right time.
Yeah. The LeBron James effect. I mean, we've seen it with so many players over the years. You guys are very familiar with JR, with playing with the Knicks. Like, he made JR a better player. He always finds ways to make his teammates better, especially those guys who could defend and knock down shots, which is the perfect fit for him. Also, he wants to get guys confident because he's going to want to coast at some point this season, right? He can't carry them the whole season. So he needs guys playing well.
You gotta put the leadership in their hands. No question about it, man. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll chop it up on Friday's edition of the NBA Report and preview the finals. So looking forward to that, man. Once again, this show is brought to you guys by Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy. Go to prizepicks.com. Use promo code NBAR for an instant deposit match of up to $100. And to learn how to play Prize Picks, it's very easy. All you're going to do is select 2 to 6 players. You can choose from a number of sports. Obviously, we play NBA primarily, but you can choose NFL. You have college basketball, college football. You have MMA. You have a ton of sports that you can choose from. And you're just going to predict whether or not that player is going to do more or less than a given stat projection that Prize Picks has outlined on that particular game. More or less. It's that simple. And you have a chance to win a huge multiple of money, man. Sometimes up to 10 times your money. So play to win, but play responsibly. And here is where I'm going tonight with my picks, fellas. Here's where I'm going tonight. Full slate of NBA basketball back at it tonight. You have, let's see where I'm starting off at. Or I have, rather. Memphis visiting Detroit. I'm going with Cade Cunningham with more than, let me just pull it up. I just lost it. My fault. Hang tight. I'm going with Cade Cunningham with more than 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Memphis has been fairly susceptible to point guard play this year. Memphis is just a mess. And I'm going with that time off. Cade, over his last 2 games, has hit that higher number. He's cleared 40 in these games, just kind of being relied upon to be Detroit's playmaker and point getter as well. So I'm going with Cade with more than 35.5. I'm going with Joel Embiid with more than 32.5 points. Philly visiting the Washington Wizards. Now, again, this one could have a blowout factor involved in it, so it is kind of risky, but I'm going with the process, having a number of days off, fresh rest, fresh legs, and I think he's going to dominate the Wizards tonight. I'm going with the process. They can't guard anybody. 32.5 points. My lock of the night, because they're playing those Wizards, I'm going with Tyrese Maxey with more than 6.5 assists. Like I said, this Wizards team is just dreadful from a defensive standpoint. Maxey, I like Maxey at the 6.5 mark. He's hit that number 3 out of his last 5 games. I'm going to give Maxey the edge here and go with more than 6.5 assists. Another lock I like tonight. Mikal Bridges with more than 24.5 points. The Nets playing the Atlanta Hawks tonight, and with the Atlanta Hawks, one of the worst teams at guarding the wing position between 2s and 3s. So I'm going with Mikal Bridges here with more than 24.5 points. He's been starting to heat up before the break. I'm going with Mikal Bridges there. And last one, I'm going Paolo Banchero with more than 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Orlando taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Banchero's had some success against the Twin Towers of Allen and Mobley, and with the Magic playing on their hot start, I'm going back to Banchero. He's been able to hit this number in, I believe, 3 or 4 out of his last 5. So I'm going back to Banchero. The only real off night he had was that one off night against the Wizards, but overall he's been doing fairly well. So I'm going Banchero more than 30.5 points, rebounds, assists. Al, where are you going tonight?
All right. So first, I'm going off with Scotty Barnes. They're playing Miami tonight. Scotty's been shooting very well as of late. I'm taking him for more than 19.5 points tonight against Miami. I just like him in this matchup on the wing. I then went to Terry Rozier, taking more than 21.5 points. The Hornets are playing Chicago, a lowly team. I know, I believe LaMelo is back tonight, but even still, putting Terry in a secondary role, even if he comes off the bench, I think he would replace PJ Washington as that scorer. And I still think and for him coming off the bench, he'd get more than 21.5 points. I then took Nikola Jokic less than 52.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He hasn't been able to do more. He hasn't been able to average more than 48. So I believe that will be, he can hit on that tonight. I then took Norman Powell to hit less than 1.5 3-pointers. Last time he played, he either hit max 2, but 1 was a more recent time. I think with having Russell Westbrook on the bench now and that they're changing things up for the Clippers, it's changing his role. So I don't expect him to take that many shots, especially from 3. My last one is Tyrese Maxey going against the Washington Turnstiles, more than 25.5 points. I know that there's the blowout factor involved, but I believe that he's going to get more than 25.5 points just because even with the Wizards, they somehow know how to keep it a game for most of the times. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So I'm pretty confident that he'll get more than 25.5 points. And that's what I got. Andrew, what do you think about for tonight?
Great picks, Al. Shout surprise picks. So I have all over because we know the NBA scoring is out of control. I always get text messages from people like the scoring's out of control, so might as well go more on everybody. All right. Cade Cunningham, more than 23 points. Detroit is terrible. Memphis is terrible, but I think it'll go down to the wire, and Cade will get those buckets. Paolo Banchero, I'm going to go over 19 versus Cleveland. Brandon Miller, I think his rookie season has been a little bit slept on. Liked him before he even played in college. He's a 3-level scorer. two-way player. I'm going to go over on Brandon Miller with 14.5. He's also going to be a complete player, like the next player I'm going to name, Paul George. Paul George has been the Clippers' best player, and I think he could go over 23 points a game. And you mentioned the Washington Turnstiles, but that game is going to have Kyle Kuzma go over 24.5 because who else is scoring for them, right? Maybe Jordan Poole a little bit.
Who else is scoring? He says. You think Kyle Kuzma's going to go? You think he's going to be able to put that many more points than what's needed? Huh?
Well, they're going to get to like 90 at least, right? So who's going to get him?
Who's I guess, but it's like I think I got Tobias Harris who could possibly stop Kyle Kuzma for a little bit. I mean, he's been playing better.
Yeah, that's true. Tobias has been good, but yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd give Kyle some love. He belongs on like a better team, right? Like not on a terrible team. He should be like a third option on a contender.
That would be nice. I would like to see him on the third option.
Yeah, he's actually done it before. What am I talking about with the Lakers?
He was, but I feel like he needs to go back to being the third option on a contender.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma as your number one option is
it's tough.
It's rough to watch.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Jordan Poole as your running mate. That's like, oh great. Now I got a guy who also wants to chuck with me. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's not winning basketball, that's for sure.
Not at all.
Not at all, man. A great show, fellas. Absolutely great show. Salute to Paris in the chat. $5 super chat says, shout out to Obi finally getting to his missed Final Four opt-in college. Also proud of Grimes for blasting the coach for his drive and sometimes kick. Oh, so salute to Paris. Yeah, Obi gets a chance to get something. Get a medal, ring, whatever they give out in the in-season tournament. So
medals. They give out medals, CP.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck to him. Good luck to them. And we'll be back Friday, man, 3 p.m. You guys already know we'll be recapping the semifinals. Great show, Al. Great show, Andrew. Salute to our producers. Salute to Gamba. Salute to Tyler. Great job, everybody. Great job, all the mods. See you guys on Friday, man. Another edition of the NBA Report. We out of here. Peace.